if you take something as simple as a incline dumbbell press, and I'm told to fail at 10 reps, so like really go and get those 10 reps. Well, I could probably go into the gym and grab the 90s and just grind out 10 reps, and I could get to 10 and it would be failure. But I could probably also grab the 70s and really focus on the movement, my chest, my triceps, the cadence, and absolutely fail at 10 reps.
Bringing you a reasoned approach to health and fitness. This is the Phi Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Phi Life Podcast. I'm John Barbin. With me is Brad Pilon. And today we're just going to talk about weight selection and what that really means when you're for weight training, resistance training, and how to know when someone says 8 reps or 10 reps and to failure, what any of that actually means, because that can mean different things based on the style of training you're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, right away, if you think of powerlifting, Olympic lifting, the weight selection is fairly easy. It's just as much as you can do, right? Or some percentage based off as much as you can do. And then when it comes to clinical research, it gets a bit more confusing because it's, they oftentimes in a research study looking at weight training, you will have a grad student who's in the gym with your subjects, kind of working with them, making sure their weight selection is right and kind of cueing them and helping them with the workout. And then you have Instagram, right? Where a lot of us go to see, the latest fitness influencer do his or her thing. And there also, it's typically as much as weight as possible because that just looks good, right? Moving a weight quickly is still really slow to the normal human eye, right? So I can't say, look how fast I moved it, because you'd be sitting there going like, dude, you didn't move it fast. And so what I can show you is look how strong I am by the amount of weight I'm lifting. But what got me was, John, you and I are talking about the fact that if you take something as simple as a incline dumbbell press, and I'm told to fail at 10 reps, so like really go and get those 10 reps. Well, I could probably go into the gym and grab the 90s and just grind out 10 reps, and I could get to 10 and it would be failure. But I could probably also grab the 70s and really focus on the movement, my chest, my triceps, the cadence, and absolutely fail at 10 reps. So which weight do I use, right? There's any 70s, 75s, 80s, 85s, 90s. Like I got a whole range of weights where I could absolutely make myself fail at 10. The difference is the feel.
Yeah. Okay. So there's so many things to unpack there. So the speed that you do the rep matters, right? So are you doing like a slow, long eccentric? Are you doing a slow concentric? Or are you just kind of doing a kind of a flow? I don't want to say quick, but you can do a much shorter rep, like timing, like just down, up. Obviously, the weight as it gets heavier slows the rep down by definition. Yep. So somewhere under your, I don't even want to say your 8 rep max weight, because you'd have to say it at a specific speed. Right. So how fast are you doing the reps? Are you doing like a little breath in between reps, which really you're doing a bunch of single rep, like sets of 1, take a breath, 1 more, take a breath. Yeah. And that's a legitimate way to train. Are you doing what I call a flow set, where you imagine you're never stopping? So it's like a piston, just up, down, whatever it is. It could be for a squat. It could be for everything. Because a lot of people, if you watch, they do pause between reps. Oh, yeah. They're not purely flowing from one rep to the next. So I actually write that in the programs. I say a flow set. That means try to stay in constant motion, right? Mm-hmm, and the pain, the lactic acid, not even the lactic acid buildup, whatever that acute pain is during the set, that compounds when you truly do a flow set where you really never stop moving. But when you pause in between reps, you're buying yourself just a touch of recovery so that you can actually handle the next rep. And many guys, when they're lifting what is close to their maximum weights for whatever rep range, 8, 10, 6, 12, they'll take that pause breath towards the end of the set.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, because in your mind, you're like, well, I told myself I got to get to 10.
Yes.
So what's the way to get to 10? It's to pause and push, take a break, squeeze 1 more out, pause, take a break. Yep. So really you're doing a bunch of sets of 1 is really what you're doing there. And that's fine. That's a technique. But I'd say most people are familiar with that thought. Oh yeah, I do that. I get 5 or 6 in a row. Yep. Then for the next 4, I take a breath, squeeze one out, take a breath, squeeze, and your thinking is, well, I want to be in perfect form. I want to make sure I get it, but you're actually not doing a set of 10 there. You're doing a set of 6 plus 4 single sets of 1 versus flowing straight through. And if you stop and really try to do the flow, like all 10 reps in a row, is a completely different feeling.
Yeah, never locking out.
So there's no such thing as whatever weight you can do for 10 reps. It's like you have to consider the style of the rep, and that's a massive, massive difference.
Yeah.
So to your point, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm going to do 10 reps. I'm going to pick the weight for 10 reps. But to Brad's point, Brad can fail with 70 pounds dumbbells on 10 reps or 90-pound dumbbells on 10 reps. And it's true failure, but it's the execution of the rep itself and the flow of one rep to the next that determines which weight will actually cause you to fail. And scientifically, we can't actually prove which one is causing more muscle growth.
No. And then so what you were kind of talking about is intention too, right? So using our example, at the 90s, the intention is just, oh my God, push, right? Just push, right? Whereas at the 70s, it's probably like, okay, squeeze the chest. Okay. Like squeeze the chest. Like it's the intention in my head is different. And the focus is different. With the 70s, it's just a little enough weight. I have some brain space to focus. Whereas the 90s, they're all like, just push. You can't, there's no thinking, right? You're just pushing and you're trying to make sure your shoulders don't fall out of the back of your body, right? So for me, that's something you can't show in an Instagram reel. I can't show you my intention. And we talk about the mind muscle connection, but if you just sort of glaze over that, right, you're just seeing, oh my gosh, that guy lifts a lot of weight. But, a true, very large bodybuilder who's, I don't know, curling 50, 60-pound dumbbells and you're curling 40s, and you're thinking, look at the weight he's curling. What you don't know is, he could probably throw a 70 up. He's choosing not to. He's grabbing a 50, 60, which for him is actually a medium heavy so that he can concentrate, he or she in this case. But intention is something that we can't see on Instagram. It's something you can't write into a research study. These subjects were like really focused. These guys weren't, right? It would be really hard to do. I don't know how you would design that. So it's left with something in the gym that's kind of this black box comparing possibly people who are getting better results at a lighter weight than you are at a heavier weight. And I do think there's a gender difference in this. I think that, generalizing massively, women who get into weight training when they're doing a lunge are really thinking like, do I feel this in my glute? Do I squeeze my glute? If I move my foot, is it in my glute? Whereas guys are like, I should grab the 50s, right? Like it's just, you just grab the next possible weight and be like, well, I got 8, I'm going heavier, right?
There's probably women. My assumption is there's just less ego with women as far as like comparing themselves to how much weight another woman lifts. I don't think, my guess is most of them don't care. They're
not the same.
Yeah, they're doing more of, this exercise is meant to hit this muscle group. I better feel it in that muscle group.
Exactly.
But guys, I mean, my assumptions right from the first time you go to the gym, you're comparing yourself to the bigger, stronger guys and how far you are from them. Like 2 plates is a milestone on the bench press, then 3 plates. If anyone can even get to 3 plates, most guys can't. Then on squats, it's like, 2 and 3 plates are milestones, kind of on all the lifts. And then even deadlifts, it's like you go from 2 to 3, can you get to 4? So that's like, more guys than not are gonna think in terms of how much weight I'm lifting, but that's probably misguided, and it's more like how much muscle, I don't know, activation can you produce? But you can't see that. And like you said, it flips all the way around when you see a pro bodybuilder lifting what looks like not very much weight, and you're thinking, well, I can kind of lift that weight. Shouldn't he be lifting like 3 times as much?
Exactly, right? And then in the magazines, where you and I both have been involved in making sure they lift freakishly large amount of the magazines. Look how old we are. Back in the day, the magazines, the photo shoots, it's either fake weights or John and I'd be on the other side helping a guy deadlift a weight, and he would do his pose. But when you see them actually training in the gym, often, you're sitting there going like, shouldn't you have more weight on there, right? So... But then I would argue, too, that the training with a bit lighter weight, we're not talking lightweight, so like, medium heavy as opposed to heavy, it probably has a bit more longevity in terms of your joints, etc. Like it's different. And it's something that I think we all overlook is the intention that you can put on the weight. I mean, again, the weight is just an implement, right? The muscle fibers do not care how much weight is actually there. It's just how much challenge is there. So by slowing it down, by not allowing that pause, that rest at the top, you're causing it to do more work, to be in a more challenged state. Is that a better way to train if you're not purely focused on how much weight can I lift?
Yeah, and I think that's the point. I think people default to weight. How much weight is just the number on the dumbbell, the number on the bar, that the wherever the pin is in the stack, like how much is it? So I think we lose sight of there's a lot more going on to the style of the rep and the intention of the rep than there is to just the amount of weight. Like theoretically, highly theoretically, you could build muscle without any weights if you could just contract the muscle voluntarily. Like kind of like if you just squeeze your hands together like this, your chest is going to get some amount of squeeze. Or if you just do that and you're squeezing your biceps, I mean, they're doing something, right? Or if you just extend your arm, your triceps doing something. But the reason we even lift weights is because you can't actually force the contraction just like this or like this. As if the same as if you had weight. Also, you can't get a range of motion. You can only just do a static squeeze. So you do need some kind of weight. And it has to be more than just a pencil, right? Like lifting a pencil doesn't make your arm any bigger. So it has to be above a certain threshold. But beyond that, the intention of the rep it really matters. So I guess, okay, so what's the takeaway here? What's
the takeaway,
goal, right?
Yeah, the
it's
goal.
The goal.
Yeah.
The goal is, are you competing in powerlifting or Olympic lifting where the point is to move the weight? The weight has to get from point A to point B. Such that the judges will pass it. If that's the case, you're training to move the bar, not squeeze the muscle and all that bodybuilding stuff.
If you could win it with 12-inch arms, go for it. Or you wouldn't care. Right? Because you're just trying to lift a weight to win a competition.
Right. And then if that's not your goal, which I think goal hijacking, a lot of people get lost in lifting more weight when really they went there to build muscle and to build an aesthetically, like a physique, like try to look like one of these people, like Zane or whatever. So if your goal is, which most people's guys are when they go to the gym and girls, is to just look better, well then pushing more weight's not really the answer. It's activating the muscle, which gets down to, do you have intention on your reps? Do you expect the reps to compound with the intensity from one rep to the next? Are you flowing from reps? So you got to admit what the goal is. And then if you're like, oh, okay, I really am just trying to build muscle, then you're trying to stress the muscle rep to rep. And you have to kind of get it out of your head that, well, I just need to put more weight on the bar and more weight. That's not actually the answer. It's more stress on the muscle. Yeah.
And I can remember talking with someone who was way back. They were having problems growing their triceps. Like everything else was fine, just tiny, tiny triceps. And tiny. Anyway. And he was talking about, he was going to move to tricep cable pull downs, but he was going to turn his arm because he felt a better squeeze. And I just remember thinking, dude, that's stupid. Just do it normal way and add more weight. And now I'm thinking, no, you know what? That wasn't working. Like he's been doing that for years and it wasn't, like maybe altering it. So yeah, the weight you use is obviously lighter, but if he's feeling it in that target muscle more, where he's feeling the stretch, he's feeling the squeeze, he's feeling the work in the tricep, that was probably the right move. So sorry about that. But if you're having problems getting the results you want and you're not feeling it where you want to feel it, it is likely a lower the weight and work on the intention. Lowering the weight allows you to do that finicky stuff. Like if you watch a C-bum video or some video on YouTube where they're talking about lateral raises and where the elbow should be and pinky should be, and you're sitting there going, I don't have time for that. Like I'm just going to grab 40s instead of 30s and crank them out. But maybe there's a point to grabbing the 15s and really trying to do exactly what they said, right? So I think it's a missing link. I think intention is something you can't show. Like we've said, it's something it's hard to study, and it's one of those, the art side of the science of building muscle, where I think it matters. I think some people just get it right off the bat, right? Just like a natural athlete. Some people are like, oh, I get, like that's supposed to squeeze here, and that's what I'm working on. And other people are like, no, I just gotta. This is a mechanical engineering problem. I just have to lift more weight.
Yep, and there's So you've got to and it doesn't matter if it works for somebody else. If a particular position on an exercise works for you and you can validate it by, well, I don't know. All I know is the muscle really activates when I do it with, like you said, the hands under or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then that works on your anatomy. Everyone's body's slightly different. Obviously, the same area of exercise, like all of the different ways to activate triceps are going to be within the same grouping of exercises, but one or two exercises are going to hit yours better than the next guy's over, and those are the ones you should be doing. And you can only find that out trial and error. You just really won't know. Like some people, a standard bench press they don't feel it in their chest as much as if they either go incline or just change their hand position. It can be little things like that, but you got to fiddle with it. And it doesn't matter if the next guy over it works for them. You have to find the positioning that works for you. Like I separated my shoulder in high school. There's certain bench press positions and hand positions I just can't even do. And then I end up on like a close grip inclines is my best positioning that I can survive and get the most activation. Well, it just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got to figure that out for your own body. If your goal is to build muscle and not competing in lifting, which, let's be honest, most people are never competing, but they get caught up thinking that way in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And then same thing with the guys that are like, I'm lifting to be tough. You're like, oh, don't, just stop. Right. No, you're not. No, you're not. Right. You're lifting to look tough, which is right back to building a good physique. So,
certain exercise, I got one other item here. Certain exercises you don't squeeze, like you don't do that on a squat.
I don't know how you would.
You don't think of one particular muscle. When you're doing a large compound thing like that where, Jesus, every muscle in the body's going in there, obviously it's going to be glute and quads that dominate that exercise and some lower back. But when you're doing a squat, you're not thinking in terms of, squeezing it the way you could squeeze a bicep curl, but you are thinking in terms of flowing from one rep to the other.
If I do a flow set the way you like them done, I'm doing half the weight I normally do when I squat.
Yeah, like, and your legs will be screaming at the end of it.
I hate it. Yeah, but
yeah. So there's you got to take it in context for what exercise you're doing, but flowing from rep to rep, that's consistent no matter what the exercise is, and you can still be concentrated on the muscle and just be honest with yourself. Are you caught up moving weight for the sake of moving weight, and if you've long since distance yourself from like, I came here just to build muscle and look better. It never was chasing weight. And to Brad's point, if you're noticing, I just haven't really, that muscle it's not getting anywhere. I'm not noticing it. Then mess around with your posture. So it could be foot position for leg work. It could be bar position for squat. It could be, you should be lunging instead of squatting. So there's all kinds of ways to mix it up just from a posture standpoint, let alone the sense of one rep to the next and flowing through reps versus doing the take a breath, one more rep. I mean, breathing squats, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's just a series
different
of
exercise
sets of one, but it's a different thing. So there's all different ways to slice it up. Just whatever your goal is, just be honest about the way you're training for your goal.
And there's a way to use lighter weights than maybe you're used to get very good results. So sometimes if you're not getting the results you want, it might be an issue of lowering the weight slightly and working on the tempo, the flow, the intention, etc.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know. You got anything else for that one?
No, that was it. I just thought it was kind of important to bring out that you can't show intention, but it is an important part of your training.
Yep. All right, that's a good one. All right, so good place to leave it. If you're still with us, we appreciate you being here. We know our channel's small, but if you want to support us, a like and a subscribe would go a long way, and we'd really appreciate it. So
Absolutely.
For Brad Pilon, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Phi Life Podcast.